Okay, so good morning to all. Up to our previous session, we completed even that implementation part also related to sensing the voltage and current waveforms to measure the power factor, right? So see, uh, up to the previous session, we generated that pulses by using signal conditioning circuits like after sensor, that is voltage sensor, and current sensor, that is nothing but CT and PT, that is current transformer and potential transformer, and by using the JCD, zero crossing detector, we generated that pulses, right? So during that previous session, I already explained about what is mean by that power factor, that is nothing but cos phi, right? So I think we determine that uh, in terms of time, minimum power factor, that is our threshold level for the power factor, right? Is it okay? So if that power factor threshold level is considered at 0.7, in terms of time, or how much should be the time difference between that sensed voltage and current waveform by using that ZCD. Are we determining it last time? Still it is pending. See, we have one pulse, for example, after that ZCD, suppose this first pulse is generated, that is for voltage waveform, and another one that is generated like this, that is for current waveform, as that current gets lagged due to the nature of load. So this is the in terms of time difference right now. So for cos phi minimum at the 0.7, how much will be the T? That means while developing the program, once you will be able to sense that voltage and current waveforms, you have to note down the time period, right now, at what time that voltage signal gets sensed, as well as at what time that current signal gets sensed, right? So are we determining it last time? Am I audible? I think there is some issue related to Blackboard, but no problem, we will continue it. Are we determining it in terms of time difference?
No, sir.
No, okay. So today we'll first cover it and then we'll go ahead for the next part of this assignment, right? So see, while developing the program, you have to write it like this. If that time difference is this much, then only there is need to take the action. If the time difference is somewhat less than our expectation, then no need to take any action. That means it will be abandoned. Right now, see, if the power factor is, for example, unity, then in that case, that T will be equals to 0. The time difference will be equal to 0, right? So if it is 0.7, then how much will be the T? See, I think last time we determined that phi, right now. That phi was equals to how much? I think it is 45 degrees. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 45 degree. So we have to calculate it in terms of time or time difference. Just think on it and how to determine it in terms of the time difference. Can anyone? It's so simple. One cycle is off,
Yes, sir. One cycle is of 360 degree,
Yes,
and the total time period we know from the frequency.
correct. It is 20
So,
milliseconds because
yes.
the frequency is 50 hertz, right now. As the frequency will be 50 hertz, then its capital T, it will be of 20 milliseconds, right? So if it is of 20 milliseconds, then just try to find out that time difference for 45 degrees. So one half cycle that will be of 180 degree, right? One complete cycle is of 360, as you said. Half cycle will be of 180 degree. Then for 45 degree, it will be how much? Right. Okay, just wait. I will rejoin my mobile again. So just wait for a few seconds. You just try it for that time difference if that angle is 45 degrees. Is it 45? Phi
Yes, sir.
equals
It is
to,
good. Yes, yes.
it's okay now, correct now?
Yes, clear, sir.
Okay. So, have you determined that T?
2.5 millisecond.
Okay. It comes as 2.5 milliseconds. It's okay. So, in your program that you have to decide now, okay, how to develop it. That is your skill. I will just give the hints for that hardware interfacing, right? So see, one pin of any one port, you will be want to use it, input pin to sense the voltage signal waveform, and you have to compare the current waveform with that pin. So for current signal, you have to prefer the another pin as the input pin and just check the difference. We have to take the corrective action. That is the meaning. Is it okay? If that difference between these two signal waveforms, sense waveforms, is less than or equals to 2.5 milliseconds, then no need to take any action. And if it is greater than 2.5 milliseconds, then you have to take the action. Now, what action is to be get taken, that I will be want to explain. So up to over here, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it clear now about this power factor in terms of that time difference, how it is to be get sense? Correct now? Now, there are various methods to improve the power factor. See, if that time difference we got, if it is greater than 2.5 milliseconds, that means the power factor is below zero point 0.7. Am I right? And expected that threshold level, we consider it as a 0.7. So the power factor, it should be between 0.7 to 1. As it is the inductive type of load, it will not be possible to achieve that power factor exactly equals to unity, right? So we will take action only when that time difference will be of 2.5 milliseconds. Now, action to be get taken. So there are various methods to. So see, you might have studied about to improve the power factor by using first one, that is capacitive bank. During this start of this topic, I already explained about if the load is of capacitive type, then voltage waveform gets lagged. If the load is of inductive type, then current waveform gets lagged. Is it? And if the load is of purely resistive type, then these two signal waveform, that is voltage and current waveform, it remains in phase. Right now. So see, as our load is inductive type, because of that, as we know that current waveform gets lagged, what we will do, we will add one capacitive bank so that whatever the leading voltage waveform will be there, it will get lagged, while current waveform will remain as it is. Right? And that is lag due to the inductive type of load. So that by using that capacitive bank, we will try to keep closer that both signal waveforms, that is voltage as well as current waveforms. So this is one of the passive method to improve the power factor. And second one, there are various active methods. That means by using our thyristors, our power electronic devices, we can improve it, and that various methods you will be able to study in detail in the next semester in power electronics. Okay. So at this stage, we will think on capacitive bank, this first one. Right? So see, again, any one pin from any one port, we want to assign to improve the power factor. That means what? If that from the same signal, if it is observed that the power factor is less than 0.7, then that particular selected pin, it will become logic high or it will get active, so that it will go on to close the switch, and hence that capacitor will get added in parallel to the load. That is nothing but in parallel to the power line, or we can say in parallel to that motor. Is it clear? And if that power factor is 0.7 or above 0.7, then that assigned particular pin to improve the power factor, it will remain at logic low level. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So simple logic. Okay. See what I said. There will be, suppose, see, what I will do, I will just show roughly. Suppose there is a microcontroller. One pin is assigned to improve the power factor as output pin. We will call it as output pin from that particular port. Okay. If the sense power factor by our controller is below 0.7, then there will be logic high. Otherwise, it will remain 0. Right? Now, if there is a motor over here connected through some switches like this, it is connected to, suppose, to the live with respect to neutral. Okay. So here we will connect one capacitor through the switch parallel to this motor. Right? And if logic high gets generated over here, this switch will get closed. Otherwise, that switch will remain open. So simple mechanism. Is it visible, Blackboard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, if the power factor gets sensed below 0.7, this output pin, it will get active. That means logic high will get generated, and it will go on to turn on this switch. Where that switch is connected, it is connected in series with that capacitor, and that combined assembly, it is connected in parallel with the motor, because this motor is of inductive type. And because of that inductive type of motor, there is a decrease in power factor. Correct? Now, how that power factor, or what should be, or after how much time period that power factor should get sensed? It is not necessary to monitor that power factor continuously. Okay? So you can monitor it, you can check it after, you just decide it, after each 5 minutes. We will give that delay of 5 minutes. Suppose if it gets currently checked, that power factor, if it is above 0.7, no issue, our controller should check it after 5 minutes again. Right now, so that delay for the measurement, timely measurement of that power factor, that delay we will go on to give as a 5 minutes. All these things you have to note down at your end, because while developing the program, you have to consider all these things, that delay and everything. Okay. Now see, if currently that sense power factor is 0.7, the action will be taken. That means that output pin, logic high will get generated, that capacitor will get connected in parallel with the motor, right? Now, up to how much time period that capacitor should remain connected across that motor? Again, it is not mandatory that capacitor should remain continuously in parallel with the motor. Okay. So what we will do, again, after 5 minutes, the delay is already set for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, again, that power factor will get measured, will get sensed. And if it looks above 0.7, it will be above 0.7. So after 5 minutes, that sense power factor is suppose above 0.7, again generate logic load to this pin so that capacitor will get disconnected from the motor. Is it clear? Again, as per that given delay of 5 minutes, later on, again that power factor will get sensed, will get measured, and if it is above 0.7, then no need to take the action. Again, next 5 minutes, power factor will get sensed and measured. If it goes down below 0.7, again action will be taken to generate the logic high so that capacitor will get connected in parallel to the motor. Is it clear now? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So all these things, already I told, you have to implement, you have to consider while developing the program. You have to write that program by yourself. Okay. At the end of this assignment, combinedly, I will go on to give all that points. Right? Now, about the value of this capacitor. You search it by yourself. What should be the value of this capacitor? Right now. That is in terms of capacitors as well as in terms of voltage handling capacity. AC capacitor. It should be a AC capacitor so that it can improve that power factor. Okay. Search by yourself. If you do not got it, then I will go on to explain later on. Okay. Now, the major part is about this switch. What should be there? We have to either connect or disconnect the capacitor. Then that switch, because see, this part, it is a very high power part. That is nothing but high voltage or high AC voltage and currents. And whatever the system we are developing, it is totally very low voltage level, or we can say it is a digitally controlled system, right? So it should get totally isolated from each other. Otherwise, that high power side will go on to damage our system. So there should be a perfect isolation between this digitally controlled circuitry and the high power load, right? And that we will go on to design and develop by using this switch. That switch and somewhat extra components with that switch will go on to provide, or it should provide, that 100% isolation between this controlling and high power controlled load. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll switch now towards that isolation circuitry or that switching circuitry. According to you, what we can prefer? The same circuitry, again, we have to use to turn on and turn off the motor also, that is single phase AC motor also. Okay. Same method will be there. Can anyone?
Relay.
Relay. Okay. How it is to be get connected? See, can we connect relay directly at the output of microcontroller? That means, as you said, I will just draw that diagram. Your answer is partially corrected.
Sir, त्याला relay drive लागेल एक.
Okay, relay drive. That means we can't connect it like this, no?
No.
Okay. Why we can't connect it like this?
सर ते मॅक्सिमम करंट मायक्रोकंट्रोलर प्रोव्हाइड नाही करू शकणार त्याला.
Okay. How much is the maximum current sourcing capacity of microcontroller?
About 5 milliamperes.
No. It is not only 5 milliampere. Current sourcing capacity of that microcontroller is almost 25 milliampere. But still, it is very less as compared to the current requirement of that relay. Okay. I will take one example. Suppose there is 12-volt relay. Okay. 12-volt relay is there, having its coil resistance of suppose 50 ohms. So this is the specification of that particular relay right now. So see, if such type of relay is available with us, that is 12 volt, and the coil resistance is given by the manufacturer as a 50 ohms, we can't connect it directly at the output of this microcontroller. First of all, why we can't connect? Because while turning on that relay, as per the specifications given by the manufacturer, that relay is of 12 volts. That means the generated voltage by the microcontroller, it should be 12, right now. But how much it generates? It generates only 5 volts. And second one, as the coil resistance is given as a 50 ohms, you can easily calculate when this relay will get turned on, how much current it will going on to consume. Right now, that is the current sinking capacity or current sinking of that relay. It will be how much? You can easily calculate. I relay equals to operating voltage. Is it okay?
Yes.
So just calculate it and let me know the answer.
0.24.
0.24
ampere.
what ampere? That means we can say it. Okay. Is it visible properly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see that relay current requirement, it is of 240 milliamperes, right? And how much is the sourcing? Now see, if that relay is connected directly over here to the output of our microcontroller, now that controller will go on to act as a source to operate the relay, right now. So first requirement, it will not go on to satisfy, and that is nothing but 12 volt. If that relay is of 12 volt, controller can provide the maximum output as just 5 volt. So that voltage requirement, it will not get satisfied, and hence that controller will go on to act in overloading condition and will get damaged, right? The second point is the current requirement of that relay is of 240 milliamperes, but the sourcing capacity of this microcontroller, it is just suppose 25 milliamps. That relay will not going on to operate. That means, in short, what we can say, this 12 volt 50 ohm relay, it will not be directly driven by our microcontroller, and hence there we can't connect it like this. So there will be need of somewhat driver circuit. Right now, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So remember, there is a need of relay driver. Now, such type of driver circuitries are available in the market. Ready-made relay driver circuits are available, but we will not go on to use that ready-madely available relay driver circuit. We can design that relay driver. It is so simple actually. That is by using transistor. During last year, you might have performed that practical also. Transistor as a switch to drive the relay. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So that circuitry, it is very simple. You just connect one transistor in series with that relay coil, and whenever that transistor will get turned on, there will be a current through the relay coil and relay will get operated. Is it? Now the question is, which transistor is to be get selected? See, initially I will prefer here our conventional transistor, that is BJT, and then we'll think on another option. Okay. So this is our BJT. Okay. And the output pin of our microcontroller, this one, that we will going on to connect to the controlling pin of our transistor. If it is BJT, then to the base terminal. Okay. There are 3 terminals as output terminal to that relay. Which are those? First one is normally connected. Middle one, which gets shift, that wiper terminal, that is known as a change over, and normally open. So NC, NO, and changeover. These are the 3 terminals of that relay. Okay. So see, when this relay will get operate, this changeover, it will get shift towards NO, because current will pass, that coil will get energized, and that relay will get operate. It is like this, right? So here we will consider this is of 12 volt DC. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now see how we will going on to isolate our microcontroller or that complete controlling circuitry from the high power side. So simply suppose, see, this changeover, if I connected it to the mains supply, that is live terminal, and this NO, if I connected it to the motor, if this is of our single phase AC motor, right, with respect to neutral, that means motor is connected to the supply voltage, that is 230 volt 50 hertz mains, through this relay. Okay. So see, simply you will observe when this relay will be in off state, that means that path is open. Right now, that live is connected to the changeover, but that changeover, it is disconnected from the NO terminal, and that NO is connected to the motor, and second terminal of that motor is connected to neutral. So when that relay will be off, that motor will remain disconnected from the live of that supply. Is it okay? And when relay will get operate, that means when relay will get turned on, this changeover, it will get shift towards the NO side like this, and that path will get complete and motor will get turned on. That logic is like this. Is it clear about this logic? How that motor will get turned on and turn off? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll switch towards this transistor. If it is BJT, input current, as BJT is known as a current control device, this one will be IB. If transistor gets on, then there will be non-zero IC and IE. 3 currents are shown over here. And you might have studied the relation between that input controlling current and output controlled current. This IC is nothing but what? It is I coil. Right now, coil of what? Relay. Because that coil is connected in series with respect to that 12 volt. Is it? Whatever the coil current will be there, the same current is nothing but the collector current of our BJT, that is transistor. Now, you might have studied the output characteristic of BJT. How many regions of operation are there for BJT? This is most important again. Can anyone? Output
3
characteristics.
regions.
3 regions. Which are those?
Cutoff, active, and saturation.
Correct. This is known as the active region, and this one is known as saturation. Right now. Now, what is the application of transistor in this case? Application is as a switch. Right now, means we have to turn on and turn off the relay. That relay itself is acting as again switch to either make the path or break the path. For that 230 volt supply applied to the motor, that single phase AC motor. Right now, There are two switches. One is our active switch. By using that active switch, we can turn on and turn off the relay, right? So what is the application of transistor over here? By using all these three regions, we can use that transistor either as amplifier or as a switch. And for that switch, again, there are two states, that is either closed switch or open switch, right? Again, you might have studied DC load line also. What is significance of that DC load line? We have to bias that transistor in such a way that it should either work into the active region, that is as an amplifier, or it should work into the saturation region, that is as an on switch, or it should work in the cutoff region, that is nothing but as an off switch, right now. So that is the significance. By this DC load line, we can say that transistor is working either as an amplifier or as an on switch or as a open switch, correct? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, our application is as a switch over here for this transistor. That means it should not work into this active region, right now. So to force that transistor either to work into the saturation region or cutoff region, what we have to do? Can anyone? These are the various values of input controlling parameter, that is nothing but base current. Okay. So see, you will observe whenever that base current will be sufficiently large, that transistor gets switched towards the saturation region. Okay. So you have to remember few relations. Being an amplifier, or that transistor should get work into the active region, it will be possible only when that IC equals to beta times of IB. You might have learned this equation, that beta, it is nothing but amplification factor of that transistor. Okay, beta is nothing but amplification factor of that transistor, right now. So when we will adjust the output current, that is collector current, exactly equals to beta times of its input current, then we can say that transistor will going on to work in the active region, and that is nothing but as a amplifier, right? Being a closed switch or on switch, it should work in which region? It should work into saturation, right? So it will be possible only when that IB is greater than IC by beta. Or you will observe that IC, when it will be set less than beta times of IB, then we can say that transistor will go on to work into the saturation region, correct? And as an off switch, how it will be possible? When that IB is equals to 0, that's all. When IB will be equals to 0, automatically that IC will be 0. IC 0 means that transistor will be going to act as a open path. So these three equations, relations between that various currents for that transistor BJT, it is important that you have to remember. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So see, if we consider BJT in this case, as per the specifications for that relay is of, we consider 12 volt and 50 ohm. You determine that I relay or I coil of that relay equals to 240 milliampere, right now. And already I mentioned, whenever that relay will get on, that coil will go on to consume the current of 250 milliampere, and same current that transistor have to handle. Are you agree with this? I relay equals to IC of that transistor as it is connected in series with the collector terminal of that transistor. Is it okay? Or still confused?
Yes,
See,
sir.
that a relay is of 12 volt. We consider that coil resistance, if it is given as a 50 ohms, that means whenever we will go on to power that relay by 12 volt, the relay current, it will be of 240 milliamperes. Now, as that coil is connected in series with the transistor, that means the I coil is equals to IC of that transistor. So, while selecting this transistor from its data sheet, you have to note down how much is the maximum collector current handling capacity of that search or selected transistor, BJT. For example, I will give an example. If it is BC547, okay, this is small signal NPN transistor, or NPN, it is BJT, bipolar junction transistor. As per the data sheet, if you check it, you will observe one parameter. I think its beta factor is given as, suppose it is 250, that is the amplification factor of that transistor, right? Then IC peak and IC continuous. These two are very important values. So, see what is mean by IC peak. Suppose that IC peak, I think it is given as 200 milliamperes. You just check it from the data sheet. And IC continuous, it is given as 100 milliamperes. Okay. So this BC547, this transistor, if it is operated continuously, then how much continuous output current it can handle? That is 100 milliamperes. And if it is used for the time varying signal, right? That means for any AC signal, then the peak current value it can sustain is up to 100 milliamperes. So these two values are from the data sheet of this BC547 transistor, right now. So see, as per our requirement, here we can say we can't use this BC547. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before saying yes, just let me know, suppose these two values of current are given in the data sheet. In our application or as per our application, which one you will consider, either IC peak or IC continuous?
Continuous.
Yes, it
Like
should be
peak.
continuous. It should be continuous, correct. Why it should be continuous? Because whenever we have to keep that motor in on state continuously for a particular time duration, that means there will be a continuous DC current to the base terminal, right? That means this transistor, it should remain continuously on for that particular time period. That means IC, it will be a DC current and constant. And that's why you have to consider IC continuous. While designing any amplifier circuit, as it is a AC signal, in that case, you have to consider IC peak. Is it okay? While selecting this transistor. So in this case, it should be IC continuous. So as per the data sheet, if it is given as 100 milliampere, and as we selected this relay, we know that relay current will be 240 milliampere. That means the selected transistor should have minimum IC continuous as 240 milli. Otherwise, that transistor, due to the extra current, it will going on to damage. That switch, it will not going on to sustain that extra current, right now. That's why I taken this example, that is BC547. Is it clear that BC547 can handle continuous current of 100 milliamperes only? That is the current handling capacity of that BC547, but we will going on to, or we have to handle a relay, it will going on to consume the current of 240 milliampere, and the same current will go on to flow through this transistor So if the selected transistor is like BC547, it will immediately going on to damage due to that extra current. That switch cannot sustain, cannot handle this much large current, that is 240 milliamperes as per our selected relay. So is it cleared?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's why we have to think. Yes?
Sir, आपण if we latch the relay, then means provide relay latching relay latching वापरलं तर
So many, see, in the design, there is no specific or single design. You can use multiple. So many options are available. Out of that multiple option, I taken this one. Why I taken this one? Because you should be, again, familiar with all these things. Why you studied the output characteristic of BJT. Right now. Out of that, one application of transistor, you work out properly as per your syllabus. That is nothing but amplifier. But you do not use that transistor as a switch to drive such type of high power loads. Correct? So through this design, you can learn how that transistor can be used as a switch to drive such high power loads. And that's why I selected it. Otherwise, so many options are there. Another one is optocouplers are also available, right? Such type of transistorized switching circuitry is also available. Already I told that relay driver circuit ready-madely available in the market. So you can use any one, no issue. But why I taken it? You should be familiar how that transistor can be used as a switch for the switching purpose of such high power loads. Or what is the selection criteria of transistor in such applications. That's why I selected this one right now. And hence I taken this example for BC547. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So after this session, what is your conclusion? The selected transistor should have collector current, continuous collector current handling capacity greater than 240 milliamperes. This is the conclusion of our this session. Is it okay? So we'll search another BJT which have the collector current IC continuous greater than 240 milliampere. Why greater than 240 milliampere? The reason is we are using that relay of 12 volts and having its coil resistance at 50 ohms. That's why. So I think our time is also over.